Everyone knew that as an American president, I was all about putting America first. That's true. Under my leadership, we rebuilt the United States military, created Space Force, and we made our allies pay their fair share and their fair dues. You know, we went to NATO, we say, you're not paying, you got to pay. If you remember, President Bush would go and he'd make a speech. Obama would go, he'd make a speech. They all made speeches. This one didn't even make a speech, this last one. But I went, I said, nobody's paying. You got to pay. And they did, paid hundreds of billions of dollars. They said, well, does that mean you won't support us if we don't pay? I said, that's what it means. I had to say that. I got a lot of heat for that. People, the fake news. Oh, that's a lot of fake news. Oh, that's a lot of fake news. No, the fake news gave me a hard time for that. The fake news was saying, what a terrible thing to say to our allies. Our allies weren't paying. And I said, you got to pay. We were paying for everybody. So they take advantage of us on trade, and then we also pay for their military. That somehow doesn't work. So they had to pay. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars. But I said to them, no, that means I will not protect you. I will not protect you. They said, sir, if we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? Used to be Soviet Union, now Russia. Will you protect us? I said, are you paid? No, let's assume we're not paid. Then you're delinquent, right? Well, yes, that's an old real estate term. You're delinquent, yes. No, we will not protect you. The press went crazy that I said, and you know what? If I would have said the other way, they would have never paid. Hundreds of billions were sent into NATO. But we defeated ISIS, we killed the world's top terrorists, we secured our borders, we achieved energy independence, we stood up to China, we protected Israel, we made peace in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords, and more. We did things like nobody ever heard of, and we brought our troops mostly back home. We didn't start any wars for 79 years it was before. We didn't start wars, 79, 80 years. Everybody said, oh, he's going to start wars with his attitude. No, my attitude kept us out of wars. I stopped wars with phone calls. Russia should have never happened. With Ukraine, would have never happened if I were president. Would have never happened. Nope, there was no talk of that. Would have never, ever happened with Putin. Would have never happened. And Israel, October 7th, would have never happened. Iran would have never done that. They had very little money at that point. Now they're rich as hell. But Biden allowed that to happen, and Kamala, where's Biden? What happened to Biden? Where is he? He's on a beach. He's on a beach. You know, he's got somebody that thinks he looks great in a bathing suit. He likes to go to a beach. How do you leave here and go on a beach? You can't do it. There are things you just don't do. People don't want to see you in a bathing suit. Walks badly. It's hard to walk in the sand. You know, he has a hard time lifting his feet through the sand. And then he grabs a chair. The chair is meant for old people to lift and young kids to lift, like, you know, 4-year-old kids, right? And he can't lift it. He needs a little help. The whole thing is crazy. How we ever got that is crazy. And what happened to our country with inflation and with disrespect from all over the world, and all these wars are starting all over the place. And we're very close to a third world war, and don't kid yourself, because they are laughing, but they're not laughing too much. They're a little worried about a certain person winning the election. We had some very good polls today. And if that happens, you're not going to have any third world wars. Every American was safer under President Trump. In fact, the entire world was safer when I sat behind that beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office. You know, I heard the other day, for the first time, I heard Biden say, the beautiful Resolute desk. He never said that before. They copy me. When I say we're a nation in decline, guys are copying me. Then they say they shouldn't say that, but they thought the words were beautiful. But they copy me all the time. In that case, it was Republicans that were copying me because they happen to be right, so I don't mind if a Republican copies me. Any of you guys want to copy me. But it's a sad thing to have to say, but they copy me. The Resolute desk, he never mentioned that. He doesn't even know what the hell the Resolute desk is. Exactly 3 years ago this month, the weakness and incompetence of Kamala Harris and crooked Joe Biden delivered the most humiliating event in the history of our country and one of the biggest military disasters in the history of the world, as far as I'm concerned. No one will ever forget the horrifying images of their catastrophic retreat from Afghanistan. Desperate Afghans fell to their deaths from the wheels of U.S. cargo planes that were 3,000 feet up in the air. Bloodthirsty terrorists poured out of the prisons after Biden and Harris surrendered Bagram, one of the largest air military bases anywhere in the world. We spent billions and billions of dollars building it many years ago. And, you know, it was important to keep it. I was never leaving that. I would have been out faster than them. I said, that's not, we were there for almost 21 years. And I said, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And we had no soldiers killed for 18 months while I was there because they knew, don't play around with our soldiers. They were killing them. They were killing them under Obama. Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy. Don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy? Sir, you must stick to policy. You'll win it on the border. You'll win it with inflation. You'll win it with your great military that you built that they gave away $85 billion worth of it in Afghanistan. Sir, you're going to win it on crime. The crime is running through the streets like never before. You're going to win it on all of these things, and maybe especially, I think two things, the economy, inflation, because I view them together, what they've done to inflation, and they caused it with energy. What they did with energy is so stupid. If we were there, our energy, we would be so dominant all over the world right now. We were already energy independent. I made you energy independent, but we would be energy dominant, we'd be paying back debt, we'd be reducing your taxes still further. We gave you the largest tax cuts ever. And a lot of good things were going to happen, but now we're just going to have to sort of call it a delay of 4 years. But these people don't have any idea what they're doing. You had 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. I got to know a lot of the relatives, friends, and mothers and fathers of those 13 people. 45 others were horrifically wounded, and $85 billion worth of the best military equipment anywhere in the world was handed over to these people. In fact, Afghanistan is now one of the largest arms merchants anywhere in the world. Did you know that? They're selling our equipment at tremendous prices. They're selling our beautiful. We had 70,000 armored trucks, many of them armored trucks and vehicles. Think of this. We had 700,000 rifles and guns. I actually say, what the hell did they need so many for? 700,000 rifles and guns. We had goggles, brand new, right out of the box. You know, they didn't fight at night because they never had goggles, right? Good fighters. They never had goggles. Now they have brand new goggles, all left by the Biden-Harris administration. Gave them billions and billions of dollars, just gave it to them, and now they sell that equipment because they don't need 700,000 rifles. They need 20,000, little difference. They don't need 70,000 vehicles. They need 500 vehicles. You have to ask yourself, who bought all that stuff in the first place? Who bought it all? How disgusted we're all when we see, all of us are, when we see 3 days ago when we viewed their parade, our military equipment running down the middle of their main avenue, brand new, beautiful, armor-plated trucks, tanks, and vehicles running down the middle, and they're all celebrating because we have stupid people running our government, and she'll be worse than Biden because he wasn't really a believer, but she's a radical left believer. She ruined San Francisco. She ruined California. And if she gets in, our country doesn't have a chance.